Do you have any like just hot
Crime.
based dating takes?
Dating takes?
Yeah.
What was wrong with those takes?
Prisons, you know.
They go to in prisons because they have no sense of family
They
and
have
community
they
at
have no
home.
fathers.
Because 9 times out of 10, they're coming from a single mother household, which is like the bane on any existence of any society.
Yeah.
Single mother households are the cancer of this earth. If you want to have like a good, stable, functioning society, single mother households are the absolute antithesis of what you need to
Yeah.
be doing.
And feminism has contributed to that, which is
For
why
sure,
it's degenerate.
1,000%.
Okay, wait.
Can we just say that
feminism-
feminists,
That was why that one
feminism is just
super
like to
chat was
blame
so
for
interesting
everything?
because they were like,
No, I
other than
think
feminism,
feminism-
what is to blame for the collapse of the family structure? And it's like at that
Feminist.
point, the slice of the pie chart remaining would be so obscure, it'd be something like video games.
I think
Because
a lot of
feminism-
Not even video
women,
games. Not even
let
video
her
games.
No,
speak.
I just want to say this very quickly. I agree that single parent households are
Single
women-
mother.
sorry,
Single
I-
mother.
Yeah,
households.
single mother households is bad. I completely
Are
agree with
bad.
you guys.
Correct.
Ew.
However,
Gross.
I think you have to take
Sorry.
into consideration that like
Just the PDA.
How
you
this
know?
was what you wanted to
Okay.
see. That's what
What
Hey
the
guys,
let her
talk, please.
You started.
It was
You did start.
Just-
Billy finish.
Hey guys, let's let
Okay.
Pixie speak.
You were playing tongue
Let's
hockey with
stop,
your
stop,
wife.
please stop. Let's let Pixie speak.
I
Listen to
feel like
Chase.
a lot of times when people use this rhetoric, what they sometimes paint this false picture that it's okay for people to stay together if it means not being a single mother household, even if the situation, the relationship is super toxic, abusive, just not healthy. So I agree, single parent, single mother households are horrible. Completely agree with that. But I do think they're better than staying with somebody if he's being abusive to you. If
No.
he's hitting you, you should not raise your child in that environment. You should get your child out of there because that person is being a danger to your family, to you, and to your child. So I
agree with that.
Yeah.
But that is still an anomaly. I mean, like we mentioned earlier,
Extreme
this is
anomaly.
a true statistic.
Extreme
that
anomaly.
Well, because-
80% of couples can recover from that in 5 years, and I think it's fundamentally selfish. And you can tell because the type of people who say that, they're like, "Well, I just wasn't happy, so it's better for the child." It's absolutely not. It's not better for the child.
really
But they
curious.
think that because they're so prideful, they don't want to address whatever they're doing wrong, and their partner is probably, because water seeks its own level, probably just as prideful and narcissistic and doesn't want to address what's wrong and fix themselves. And so they think, well, I'm not happy, so the child must really not be happy. It destroys, especially young boys, if they don't have their father in the household, they're not socialized properly. Like, they're literally screwed for the rest of their lives. Daughters, they don't, it's not as effective to them. I mean, they like get a little bit more promiscuous with the guys they date, but in terms of like literally just like derailing someone's trajectory in life, young girls can more or less recover pretty well, but boys are like if their dad's
Yeah,
not
I just
present.
wanted to say, as someone who's studying law, I take a lot of criminology classes, and it is true that men who are raised in single mother households end up becoming criminals because of the lack of the father figure in their life.
Yes, as she
And
was just making that point.
Yeah.
Criminals, homeless,
What
promiscuity.
you got? What you got
I think
for
it's
us?
important
Melina.
to
I just wanna
shine. I just think it's important to shine light on the whole fatherless things. And
Shine it.
It
Wait,
is.
wait, that's
Shine.
not you, Chase. Who's making the noise on the
Shine.
ground?
Melina, what was it that you wanted
Yeah, I
to
was
say?
just curious. I just wanted to see like an honest answer on this one. If there's someone that's very, very young, might be really religious and like values marriage a lot, and goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20, and then a year into the relationship, it gets really, really abusive.
From who?
Would you, from both?
This is so
Uh,
rare.
anyone
It's
anyone
so
really.
rare.
I
Go
mean, it
on.
happens.
Go on,
I'm
go on.
just- My point is, I'm
hypothetically.
just, yeah, even though it might be rare from what you guys think,
It is. Go on.
if it would happen, what would you recommend for those people to do? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
Keep going.
You can't divorce. I mean, that's not a real thing. You can like separate. See, his Catholic background shines through. He knows. You can't divorce. You can separate, but you can't actually divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive,
You got to endure. People are too.
you want to stick into the
wanna-
relationship.
People are
physical
just.
abuse.
I mean, look,
people
I'm gonna be
nowadays
honest.
are just. Everybody quits. Everybody gives up. It's too hard. I'm this XYZ. This is why I'm special. So I. This entire situation based upon me being special. And the reality is, people just haven't learned to endure. There have been hard times in relationship. I'm sure you guys had hard times in relationship. Any relationship has hard times, and it
Okay.
is what it is. You need to push through, and you need
What if
to
the
endure
kid
because
is
we're in
getting
this.
abused?
Hold on, because we're in this situation now, like where everybody's just creating this like super nuanced, like 1% example of like, well, what if the kid's transgender, black, and abused, and he's a Black Lives Matter supporter? Like, cool, okay, I get like that one
No, but I'm
minute
asking for
situation.
anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay,
You think
Endure.
so?
I'll tell
Would
you
they
what.
give
I'll
up
I'll tell you what
Endure.
I would
I don't-
do.
that's-
I'll tell you what.
Endure.
I'll tell you
Okay.
what I would do. If my daughter was in a relationship with a guy and she gets married to him and he starts abusing her a
Kill the
year
guy.
into it, I'm gonna be showing up on their doorstep and teaching him some lessons.
Exactly.
That's what I would do. I
Okay,
also would
but,
not if I didn't have the capacity to do that for some reason, I don't know. I wouldn't want my daughter in that situation, quite frankly. And I understand the argument to endure because I have people close to me who grew up in abusive households and it lasted for periods of time and it was a phase and they endured through it and they ended up raising healthy, successful families to an extent.
So
I mean, they
you
weren't the
would say
healthiest
that
families.
to stick in those relationships that might be abusive to everyone involved and a child, if there's a
I'm
child
not
involved?
saying like,
who
hey,
is-
stick
That's
in
an
the relationship and
extreme-
get you by a
No,
husband.
I'm
saying-
not
I'm
saying
not-
yours
I'm
is
not-
an
I
extreme.
think you guys-
I'm just asking you what you believe.
I'm
on
just
this one
telling you-
specific thing.
I-
Even
I'm
though
not
it's a
telling
small
you-
extreme thing, I'm just asking you what you think if you should stick in that relationship or not.
It is such an extreme example that I can't give a prescription for what other people should do. There is an element of
How do you guys feel about
value.
third-
Hold on. There is an element of value in what he's saying, but all I can tell you is what I would do as,
How do you guys feel
as
about-
a
do you
father
guys
of
all
a
have
daughter in a
opinions about, like-
situation like that.
Do you have opinions about third trimester abortion?
It's
Yes.
terrible.
Listen,
It's
Okay,
terrible.
Look at how quickly you can do it. Do you know how
Terrible.
rare third trimester abortions are? They're also real.
They
But
are.
you immediately had a visceral reaction to that,
Yeah.
right? There are households where parents are abusive to children. Like, that's not like an unfathomable thing. But for you to have that immediate visceral reaction to a type of abortion, that's so incredibly rare. But then when it's
I
like,
mean, we're
but you
talking
have-
about like a guy like getting drunk and like beating
have to be
his
getting
wife
drunk.
occasionally versus like somebody puncturing a woman's stomach with a needle and injecting euthanasia into the baby's eye socket.
I'm
It's
just
like a
saying, all I'm
grisly,
saying is
terrible
that
thing.
third trimester
And it's
abortion
murder.
is incredibly rare. But you have a visceral immediate reaction to that. But to hypothesize on could there
But
possibly
well,
be a
okay,
third
so
trimester child?
let me ask you guys. In the Catholic Church, I know that there's like annulments for marriages and stuff. Are there
That
no
was a mistake.
Are there no exceptions for like if a guy is beating his wife constantly?
No, there are, but now
Or a woman could as well, right?
Hold on.
Well, there's
Yes,
also a
she could, but-
distinction drawn between
If a woman's beating a dude,
legal-
that guy-
Hold on, guys.
a civil divorce, a legal divorce, and an actual divorce of a marriage. There's a distinction drawn in the Catholic Church where it's excusable to get a divorce in the legal sense.
I mean, look, I'll say this. I know there's like the Christian Catholic position and all that kind of stuff. If a woman is in a situation where she's getting beat out of her by her husband and like he might kill her, yeah, she should leave the marriage, in my opinion.
But statistically, like that's not what it is. It's kind of like with the abortion anomaly. That's not like the majority of abortions. So let's like talk about what actually happens. And what actually happens when people are getting divorced isn't these types of scenarios. It's like literally initiated, you'll probably know the stat, between 2/3 and 80% of the time by women. And the plurality of that reason is they feel unfulfilled. They want a new chapter in their life. It's like the eat, pray, love phenomenon. That should be outlawed. You legally actually should not be able to do that.
Yeah,
Also,
but then again, I'm going to say the exact
56%
same thing I said before. Finish.
Sorry, 56% of the time with divorces, one or both spouses cite pornography as one of the
Real.
reasons why their relationship has to come to an end, an irreconcilable difference.
I'm
What's
gonna-
the,
can I-
what's
I
the
will say real
percent?
quick.
Hold on. What's the percent of not abortions, divorces that are initiated by women, Brian?
78.
80%.
78.
80%.
80%. And what percentage of those women have college degrees?
Well, it jumps to 90% if they're college educated.
Real.
Okay,
I
but
mean,
you guys
I
are
wanna-
Wait,
done.
hold on. Wait, hold on. You guys misquote that all the time. The percentage of divorces by women with college degrees is lower as they have more education. But of the women that have college degrees, when they have divorces, there's a higher percentage. So just to be clear, you're better off marrying a woman with a college degree than not, because those marriages have a higher success rate. But when divorces happen, they have a higher. You guys, I hear that stat finagled a lot on these shows, but.
They
Can
are
I ask-
extreme.
Oh, I
wanna ask
agree- I
another-
agree with that,
I want to ask
but-
like one more scenario, okay?
Please.
Oh,
What about
Jesus.
if two people
Sorry.
get married, they
Sorry,
have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely.
They should
Yeah.
divorce then?
Jesus himself
You don't
said.
think
But wasn't it
Jesus, hold on,
illegal?
hold on. Jesus
And you
himself
could like
said.
work things through, right?
Jesus himself said, in cases of adultery, divorce is
So you think that
permissible.
divorce is worse than physical abuse?
No,
For the
cheating.
children?
Or cheating, sorry. You think that
is
cheating is worse than
physical
physical abuse?
For the
Sorry.
children, yes.
Absolutely
I think
not.
I'm not
Okay,
going to
no,
say this
divorce-
is worse.
divorce
I
is
mean,
worse
I,
for the
I
children.
already,
No,
I
wait,
already
is
said,
cheating
I
worse
already
than
said
physical
that
abuse?
if a
Cheating,
woman's
yeah.
getting abused, yeah, I think she should leave. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a brief temporary thing, like
What if it's mental abuse?
Okay, now
Do you
It's
think
less
if
cut and
it's-
dry,
if
huh?
it's
You're
cheating
setting
mental
your
abuse?
All right.
child up for failure as well if you stay in like these abusive
Look, that's
marriages.
not true.
Yes, it is, because you're literally every single psychologist, we can like Google it right now if you want, will agree that the patterns that you have at home are going to replicate in their future, right? So if this child gets used to seeing their other loved ones and probably them being talked down upon, being treated badly, they normalize that behavior. So you're setting
It does get passed down generationally.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Get some
You're
help.
setting
But-
them
but
up
to
for
go-
failure in the
again, this
workplace
is-
and relationships.
I
in the
just want
future.
you guys to understand this is like the reason why I sit on this podcast and like extol the virtues that I do is because it's like I think we need more righteous biblical masculinity in the world where you actually have good men that are going to be good leaders of their households. They're not going to beat their wives or emotionally or mentally abuse them or any of these things. Like that's why I continue to do this podcast with Brian, because we need to make men great again so that we don't have these situations
no.
continue
But,
to
Yeah,
But
you're
it
talking
does-
about liberal men who would
but there's
get
probably-
epically triggered
Facts.
like
But there's-
snowflakes.
but there's
Facts.
probably
And
gonna
they'd be like, "You're equal to me. I'm gonna beat you up."
But there's probably going to be cases where there are like really, really horrible marriages. And my question is, would you recommend those people to like choose happiness and like divorce and try to like be on their own because being in the relationship makes them really, really unhappy? Maybe even suicidal. Who knows? Do you think they should rather stay just because they?
But you're
swore-
I think they
You're-
should
you're
go. I
taking-
think they should go to
you're
church
taking
and
a-
return to
the
God.
question
Like you're taking a very,
so that
very.
these
Yeah, but I
issues
don't,
go away.
Yeah,
You're
I don't
taking
think
a
the
very-
issues
wait,
would
wait,
go
hold
away.
on.
Let's say if your partner is being really, really, really bad to you, and there's like so many things that he needs therapy, but he's not doing it. Do you think that the wife in that case should stick around for that, even though it might be really bad for her and the child?
But
It's better to stick around
you're
for
taking
that
an
than-
extremely
than
niche.
separating.
Hold on, you're
Yes.
taking an extremely
I don't think it's very
niche
extreme.
example. You are.
I don't think it is.
Okay, well,
I
you
think
are.
there's a lot of
So listen, you're taking an
relationships out there
extremely
that-
niche example and you're blanket statementing it for like the entire
I'm not
solution
saying it
of
at all.
divorce.
I think
I
it
mean, you
could
are
be-
though.
No, I'm not saying.
But you're saying like,
no,
what if
wait,
the
wait.
guy is like beating the wife?
Yeah, I'm asking
and then
you what
like
you
the
think,
kids
what you
are
would
like,
Wait,
they love Black Lives Matter.
Because I never talk. I never see you conservatives talk about problems like this.
I'm not a conservative, first of all. How dare you assume my political affiliation?
I never see you talk about problems that
Wait.
might happen in a marriage
Typically,
after you
when
get
these
married.
points
are
I
raised,
always
it's
see
the
you
poison
guys
in the
talk
well.
about. I always see you guys talk about how you get there and all these things. But when it actually comes to like happiness and like mental health, I never see you talk about any of it. And like
This is
what's
why-
in
Mental health is a
situations like
side.
this.
Melina, I want to make
Yeah.
the point. This is why I tell people that they need to find God and go to church, because it's like all of these problems that you're describing, if somebody authentically has a relationship with Christ and they're living in alignment with the Word, like it's going to mitigate 99% of
but
these
I
issues.
do.
I think the
Did
issue
you
is
just
that, like,
say
in the
that?
broadest, in the most macro, broadest sense, I think the big disagreements is it feels like on our side, it feels like we're talking about relationships like they're meant to be enjoyed, and you guys are talking about relationships like they're meant to be endured.
Absolutely.
I mean, to an extent, a relationship.
I like the
like,
I like
so-
how you guys think two totally opposite.
I disagree with the idea.
Wait.
The idea
So-
that they're
though.
just meant to be endured, again, it's another false dichotomy, right? Like you're saying,
He agreed, though.
I did. No.
No, and you do have to
but
endure.
you're saying it's,
I understand
you do,
reasonably.
You do have to endure.
Endure. Look,
You have
look,
to endure.
Marriage comes down to, in my opinion, my humble opinion, as a single 28-year-old man. You know, I can't speak from experience, but it's like I listen to guys like Jordan Peterson, and he makes incredible points in the sense that there is a lot to be enjoyed in marriage, like you guys are describing, but also at the same time, it takes personal sacrifice. It
Yeah.
takes endurance. It takes like sticking through thick and thin and like really sacrificing for the relationship. It's not all. It's not going to be daisies
To
and
a certain
roses
point,
the entire
right?
time.
I mean,
think-
Destiny,
Yeah.
I think you can
To a
agree
certain
that
point.
majority, like nowadays, the majority of like average people and people in general, they just give up too quick on anything.
I don't know. I think that the disagreements that
100%.
we're
You
having
disagree?
is that
You think the people are like
It's-
more to like push through things and
the
like not
issue
having
is
an
that we can survive better independently without relationships, so women's standards for enjoying relationships is getting higher. And
That's
I
true.
think that we're having an issue like trying
in
to
America,
well, in most of the Western world, probably, right?
which is all failing.
There's also a lot of
It's the
propaganda.
most successful compared to what?
I mean,
What are we
compared
failing
to,
to?
well, I mean, failing as a nation, failing in obesity.
What nation are we failing compared to?
Well, let's see. America, let's see. Obesity rates are on a climb. Let's see. We can't get
You're
enough.
not answering the question. What country or what other, like, you know, what are we failing to?
Okay, so let's talk about failing in regards to obesity. We're the
No,
She's asking for an example of a country that's doing it right.
Ironic.
You
so
can still fail objectively.
right. No, we don't need
what
to
country?
listen.
You're saying
just-
we're failing as a whole.
Jess,
that
we're-
suggests that
I-
there's
I
a
get
measure
it.
of success. What country succeeds?
No.
We're declining. We were
It's
better
like
100 years ago.
Yeah. That you're trying to say like we need to find another country that's doing it right, but I'm just saying no. Wrong is wrong, and we're doing it wrong.
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the
the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.